What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mooney channel, and in today's video I have a burning question. Do we really need the Batman? With the movie expected to come out on March 4th, 2022, superfans and normal movie viewers can create theories of what is to happen. After seeing the teaser, you can find several clues and pieces that you can put together to understand this Batman story. This video is not to hate or bash Matt Reeves for making another Batman movie, but rather to explain some thoughts about why this movie is being made. I had been thinking more about the Batman a few weeks after Zack Snyder's Justice League had been released. I had some thoughts come into my head about how this Batman story can form a new DC timeline. The Snyderverse is almost coming to an end. We know this from the several hashtags on social media titled #SaveTheSnyderverse. To be honest, this hashtag is probably gonna be forgotten since DC fandom is coming up and new movie teasers will be shown. My topic for this video is to show you guys how the Batman should fit into the new DC universe. This video will be split up into two sections. Section 1, what type of Batman story this is, and Section 2, what the future is for DC. Now sit back and let's take a look. The Batman is supposed to be a refresher, a sort of restart for DC. In the past few years, we have been given some pretty outstanding superhero films from Marvel and DC. With the success of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, DC needed some sort of big cinematic moment. Joss Whedon had directed Justice League back in 2017, but fans around the world trashed on it. For me, I didn't really like it as well. It felt a bit cartoony and had a different tone than the previous movies. The Snyder Cut saved DC and now has set the stage for more upcoming DCEU movies. Or did it? We are not 100% sure yet. Then comes in the Batman teaser released August 22, 2020. I had watched the teaser a day after and I was so hyped. I couldn't wait for a new Batman movie. I really wanted to see a young and more detective-like Batman that we haven't really gotten in a while. I also thought to myself, would this movie live up to the amazing and successful project Christopher Nolan had created? Well, to answer that, let's look at the type of story this new Batman is in. The Batman is set in good old Gotham City with Robert Pattinson as the masked vigilante. Batman is in his second year of crime fighting and has yet to see the Joker. I'm sure he hasn't yet. The Riddler, played by Paul Dano, leaves clues around Gotham with the intent to toy with Batman and Commissioner Gordon. This story is most likely based off of a classic Batman comic and is a fresh idea for us to watch. Other characters are present, such as Catwoman, played by Zoe Kravitz, and Penguin, played by Colin Farrell. The main point I am trying to convey here is that this new Batman plot will need a part 2, a sequel, a new big project. What is interesting is why this statement feels off. I mean, we already have upcoming DC movies and the Snyderverse may be revived, so why do we need a new series of Batman films? Think about it this way, if we had a trailer for a completely new Spider-Man story under a different timeline released a few months after Spider-Man Homecoming came out, people would be hyped, but question why we're getting it. Same principle applies to this Batman movie. If the Snyderverse does not end, which by the way, it shouldn't, what will happen to this Batman? The DCEU is for sure to have more movies coming up as well. So the question, will there be more, is most likely already answered. In fact, as I'm writing this script, I have just found out that the Batman is planning to have a prequel television series. This does in fact give me some more answers to my question. The Batman series should happen after the Snyderverse is over. This is my opinion. I believe that having a fresh restart should happen after an old timeline has finished. I would like to treat this movie as a reboot, which it probably is considering the fact that they have an entirely new cast. The thing is, most reboots happen after the series they are rebooting had flopped, ended, or has not been shown in a while. Batman vs Superman came out in 2016 and sort of rebooted Batman. Then Matt Reeves decided to reboot Batman once again during the DCEU. My question is, why? Why release a trailer for it now? To be fair, this movie is coming out next year. Maybe my points are invalid and this whole video is a joke. No, it can be a joke. Or it can still be valid. Since there are more DC movies to come, we are still hoping for Zack Snyder to continue his cinematic universe and to fit more movies into the DCEU. Batman should happen after the Snyderverse has completed its timeline and no new movies will be coming out. But I still ponder about the DC teasers they will show at DC Fandom. A new Flash movie is coming, a new Green Lantern television series is coming, maybe even a new Superman film is coming. These movies show that DC has many new stories to show to audience audiences. But will these movies be connected? The Flash movie is casting Ezra Miller as Barry Allen again, meaning that this is part of the DCEU. Would this be the final film? No, it won't, because there is news about an Aquaman sequel coming out as well. After doing some research, I have found out that Aquaman 2 is expected to be released on December 16, 2022. December 16, 2022, 9 months after The Batman is to be released. Wow, more evidence on why the Batman should not really happen yet. To understand me better, Ben Affleck's Batman is part of the cast in the Flash movie, meaning Ben Affleck is not really done yet. If Batfleck does end his story in the Flash film, Matt Reeves' Batman should be accepted. It would be odd though, to have two Batmen in two different universes. We already have this with the Flash from CW and the Flash from the DCEU. This Batman story would be a great fit if the DCEU finished its story first. Take a look at Marvel. They ended with Avengers Endgame but continued the universe. Notice how there are no Marvel reboots of specific characters that are not connected to the MCU. They haven't rebooted anything because they are still making films and television shows. The DCEU, however, is continuing its stories, but there is a reboot for a character. See what I mean? The Batman feels out of place if it were to be shown in an already established universe. Someday Marvel will come to an end, someday DC will come to an end, and then Hollywood can go nuts on movies being made. But upcoming DC films may fall into the same category as The Batman. Maybe the new movies will come out during the DCEU as well. I am making this video because The Batman is shown to have the most information released to the public. Again, this is my own opinion. I don't think The Batman should be released yet, and neither should other reboots because the universe is still going. Batman looks to be a great film filled with action, suspense, mystery, and all the key themes a dark and gritty Batman story should have. But with the release dates, plus COVID-19 pushing all these projects back, having The Batman shown in the middle of all of it feels out of place. I could say the same about the other upcoming DC movies, but we have yet to receive any information about them, and we don't know when they are gonna be scheduled to come out. Either way, I love The Batman, and I can't wait to see what happens next, which brings us to section 2. After seeing the news about the Batman sequels, I came to the conclusion that DC would be building a new universe. Don't get me wrong, if DC decides to just make comic book movies with no connection to each other, I'm sure people will be excited and satisfied. For me, I would like to see a new DC universe where it is full of the comic book standards. For example, I would love to see a classic version of Superman and a classic version of Wonder Woman back on the silver screen. The Batman, however, is a movie to follow this classic comic book movie standard. Almost everything about the film looks to be straight out of a comic book. To me, it doesn't just seem like they just threw Batman into the modern world. The movie has that comic book feel that we have seen in the 1989 Batman and the 1978 Superman movie. The best example of a perfect comic book movie is The Dark Knight 2008. Many people all around the world would undoubtedly agree with me. If the Batman does succeed in giving the fans what they want, future DC movies will be expected to do the same. The fans also have a part in this. They want another Batman film and want it right away. Some fans may think differently though. For some people, it can feel rushed. Having another Batman film right after Ben Affleck is having a role in The Flash can seem a bit odd. Many examples can be said to help back up this thought, and they are quite understandable. Imagine rebooting Iron Man right after Endgame, or rebooting the Hulk. This goes back to what I said about reboots happening after something has happened to the series they are rebooting. The Batman could act as an Iron Man to the DC universe. Wouldn't it be cool if the Batman starts a whole new DC universe for the fans to see? It would blow all of our minds. I predict that the next few DC movies could be connected in some way. Although this may not happen and the films would just be solo films in their own universes. Some may be sad about that and some may be happy about that. I am sure that DC won't stop making movies for a while, and I hope that they won't stop. I want DC to go the same path as Marvel, but in a more expanded and comic book accurate way. The Batman is already following this theme, and I am proud of it. It just seems that this movie is released a bit too early. It would have made more sense to release the teaser for this movie in the upcoming DC fandom of 2021. This whole video does not change my view on this film, and definitely does not make me not want to see the film either. I'm saying what most people would say about a movie that would be released too early. I remember people talking about how Captain America Civil War came too soon or something close to that. But to me, it came a perfect time. This shows the opinions people can have on specific movies and their release dates. Do we really need the Batman? Not so early. Do people want to see a new fresh start for a popular character? Most likely. There really is no definitive answer to the first question, and that's okay. Do we really need the Batman? Is a yes, maybe, and no type of question. We don't need the Batman yet because the DCEU is still continuing its storyline, but we also need the Batman because fans would like to see a new Batman film. This video was to show the appropriate date a reboot should be released on. Almost every reboot I have seen has always been released a few years later. Spider-Man 2002 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2012, Fantastic Four 2005, and Fantastic Four 2015, Hulk 2003, and The Incredible Hulk 2008. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm just a kid who has no control over a most likely $1 million movie. In conclusion, the future of DC seems bright and has so much potential to become the next big thing, the best superhero universe. Don't forget the multiple DC TV shows and how they help DC in getting bigger. The movies are not the only ones keeping DC alive, and I'm sure comic books are still being sold too. I am 100% sure the movies will do amazingly great. And the Batman is being thrown in the middle of the DCEU, but will earn lots of money and may be the best movie of 2022. So do we really need a new Batman? The question is in your mind and how you feel about the character and its story. Thank you guys so much for watching. I never knew I would be able to create a video essay, and I hope to do more again someday. Let me know how I did in the comments and what I should improve on. This video will most likely flop, but at least I'm proud of it. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, of course. Check out my podcast, link down low in the description. Alright, peace out. It's Mooney.